Today's video is packed with Tesla Autopilot reactions, close calls, fails, and saves. Buckle up for 15 never-before-seen videos from 2023. You're gonna need it. Chuck was driving his Model Y when a young boy dashed into the street from between two parked cars. The boy crouched down but wasn't hit by Chuck's Tesla. He told us Tesla's amazing technology saved the boy's life. Chuck slammed on the brakes as soon as he saw the boy, but felt the car react and brake before he did, and a hard braking event was recorded. In the left repeater camera, the boy's father can be seen across the street and behind the Tesla. Chuck and his friends stopped and talked with them and made sure everyone was okay. This actually happened on Chuck's birthday. We can only imagine how grateful Chuck was for his Tesla's emergency braking that day. This submitter was driving his Model Y with autopilot engaged on a highway in Korea. He was in the left lane after overtaking a line of traffic when he noticed a slow-moving excavator in the right lane. He decided to stay in the left lane to pass the excavator as well. The driver of a black Kia wasn't happy that our submitter was staying in the left lane, so he decided to try to squeeze between the Tesla and the excavator. The Tesla blared an alarm and engaged the automatic emergency braking. Autopilot also assisted our submitter in staying in his lane while avoiding the center barrier, the Kia, and the excavator. Our submitter credits Autopilot with saving the day and thinks the outcome would have been much different without the help of the driver assistance systems. Our submitter called the police to report the incident, but they said they couldn't do anything since no collision had occurred. It looks like Autopilot saved the Kia driver as well. This submitter was driving his 2022 Model Y Performance with FSD Beta 11.3.6 enabled in Annandale, Virginia. He was all set to turn right at the intersection ahead when the driver behind him cut across the bike lane and nearly caused a collision. Our submitter was very clear that FSD Beta was enabled throughout the entire video and was never disabled. As usual, we're just telling you the same thing our submitter told us. We weren't there, so we have to take their word for it. That said, it sure seems like the Tesla didn't even react to the situation. It just continued with its lane change while the driver who nearly caused the accident seemed to also be the one to avoid it. Are we missing something? Let us know. Basil and his mom were driving on I-5 with autopilot engaged when they encountered a large rock in the road. Basil told us the car didn't react at all and his mom didn't react in time either. They hit the rock at 68 miles per hour, jolting the car. They decided not to stop on the interstate for safety reasons. Instead, they took an exit, checked the damage, and replayed their Teslacam footage. They didn't realize they'd lost their wheel cover until they checked the video. The rock had exploded on impact, causing a wheel cover to fly off and damaging two rims. Surprisingly, there were no scratches on the car itself. They've scheduled a service appointment at a Tesla service center and called the Oregon DOT to see if they could retrieve their wheel cover, but they refused. They might consider filing a formal complaint with the DOT as it looks like that rock came from a huge pothole. Dave was heading back from a work trip on Route 3 in Massachusetts. He was cruising along in the travel lane when another Model Y came speeding up in the passing lane. Meanwhile, the driver of a Honda CR-V in the exit lane encountered slower traffic moving side by side in the travel and exit lanes. They decided to cut in front of Dave to go around them in the passing lane. The speeding Model Y reached the same place at the same time and it dove to the shoulder to avoid a collision. The Model Y stayed on the shoulder for a while before getting back onto the highway and speeding off, closely following the Honda. Dave isn't sure if the Model Y was chasing the Honda or just continuing to drive fast as he lost them in the traffic ahead. David also doesn't know if the driver of the Tesla avoided the accident or if it was Autopilot. What do you think? Was this maneuver made by the driver or by Autopilot? Let us know in a comment. While Mick was driving home on a quiet residential street, a kid on a bike entered the road out of nowhere in front of his Model 3. Mick said Autopilot wasn't engaged at the time, but emergency braking kicked in before Mick had a chance to brake. He added, "Thanks Tesla for the amazing safety features." Simon was driving with autopilot engaged in Sweden. He was in the left lane while passing two buses in the right lane. All of a sudden, a car appeared from between the buses. Autopilot reacted as Simon slammed on the brakes. Simon says it happened so fast he can't remember if autopilot did anything, but he does remember taking control and stomping on the brake. He doesn't remember swerving to the left. He thinks that was autopilot. Slactor was heading toward Disneyland and approaching a traffic light that had just turned yellow. He decided it was too late to try to stop, but a pedestrian thought it was a good time to cross the street even though cross-traffic still had the right-of-way. All the drivers were able to stop at the last second, but not without quick reactions from the surrounding drivers and from Slactor's Tesla, which took action on its own. Slactor was impressed by the quick response of the Tesla's automatic emergency braking. Slactor's happy that nobody was hurt, but this is a good example of why you should only cross the street when the crossing signal indicates that it's safe to do so. Chow was driving his Tesla Model Y to work on a Chinese urban expressway at a speed of about 55 miles per hour when he suddenly heard a warning alarm from his car. At the same time, his Tesla abruptly applied the brakes, and Chow instinctively adjusted the steering wheel. He told us he isn't sure if he stepped on the brake or if autopilot took control. To be safe, Chow immediately reported the incident to the local traffic police and provided them with his dashcam footage. They assured him they'd investigate the matter and take appropriate action against the responsible party. Safety on the road is paramount, and Chow told us he's grateful for driver assistance technologies that help to protect all road users. While this submitter was driving home and using full self-driving, his Model 3 changed lanes. It wasn't until the lane change was almost complete that he heard someone honking at him. He looked over to see a late-model Chevy Tahoe with North Carolina plates crossing a solid line while trying to merge. The Tahoe driver apparently didn't know how lane lines work and proceeded to pass other cars on the shoulder all the way to the exit. The submitter said he briefly caught up with the Tahoe and both drivers gave each other the old one-finger salute. While Cindy was sitting in stop-and-go traffic with full self-driving enabled in Washington, D.C., she spotted a UH-1N from the 1st Helicopter Squadron flying just over the tops of the buildings. It appeared to be coming from the White House, so it's possible it was flying the president to his speech at the International Union of Operating Engineers in Maryland. The Washington and Jefferson memorials are also visible in the video. Cindy told us she enjoys the scenery while full self-driving takes all the stress out of the drive. Bob was going downhill on Northeast 57th Avenue while using FSD when he saw a car on his left waiting at a stop sign. His view was then blocked by an oncoming box truck. As soon as Bob had passed the truck, the car raced onto the road, invading Bob's lane. Fortunately, the Tesla was able to stop about 15 feet short of crashing into the other car. The other driver backed up and FSD Beta continued driving. Okay, we'll try running both the front and rear camera angles at the same time to give you a better idea of what happened. Bernard was using autopilot when he came to a stop. The driver behind him wasn't paying attention. Fortunately, a terrible collision was avoided. I'm actually very surprised a Honda driver pulled off that evasive maneuver. Jason was driving his Model 3 with FSD Beta engaged in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Watch what happened while he was leaving the Strip District. His car was passing 3 bicyclists, giving them plenty of space. But as the car was about to leave the intersection, Autopilot suddenly decided to turn right, lurching toward a cyclist. Jason took control and turned the wheel back to the left, but not before the lead cyclist shouted in alarm. Jan was on her way to a customer and was legally passing other traffic. At the same time, she saw another truck in the distance indicating to the right. Since Jan was in the passing lane and the truck was slowing down, Jan decided to stay in the lane. Right when she was about to pass the truck, it turned abruptly to the left. Jan slammed on the brakes and the Tesla sounded an alarm. While hitting the brakes, Jan saw another car coming from the other direction. Jan doesn't know if she turned the wheel or if Autopilot did, but she told us she felt it helping, and together they managed to fit between the truck and the oncoming car. The trucker honked at Jan as if the close call had been her fault. She wanted to ask our viewers who caused this accident, her or the trucker. Let her know in a comment. Now, how do I engage your subscribe button? I guess I can't. You'll have to engage it yourself. Want to win a Wham Bam hoodie? We're giving one away every week for 10 weeks. To enter, send a video in to our newest channel, Wham Bam Security Cam. If your video is used in an episode, you'll be entered in the giveaway.